Welcome to another live AMA Fireside Chat. Of course, you know me, Emil Story, and you know my co-host, Austin Walters, co-founder of the Success Mentor. Today, we have a very special guest, as usual, Cole Yates, professional. No, you gotta give me the title. Cole, give me the title.
Well, I go by many, but I am a celebrity personal trainer,
That's it.
an executive health and wellness concierge. I like
There
that.
you go.
I like that title.
Executive personal trainer. If there's anybody who knows business, it's this guy. But the business that we're going to be talking about today is how to ensure health is wealth. Now, that is a curious one. Cole, if you were to break it down in a few steps, how would you ensure health is wealth?
Well, we have to look at this as like a multi-pronged approach. Health is wealth. Now, we make these decisions in our business lives to be optimal, to have the greatest return on investment, but what really runs that business is the engine, which is your body. And if you want your business to be optimized, you really have to optimize the only thing you have is your body, your mind, your wellness. So when you do that, the trade-off is being successful in your business pursuits and in your professional life.
Cool. I think it's such a good point, right? Because I know that, there's been kind of this revolution where, people are like, you know what, I work hard, but you kind of ignore it, you ignore your health. But then there's been this revolution of, you have to take care of yourself. I guess the question that I have for you is, what is like the advice that you'd give? Because a lot of our people that are going to be listening today, and a lot of people that are either on maps, they're working a lot. They're traveling for work. So when they get up at 6 a.m., they get on public transit, get to where they're going. It might take them an hour, might take them 2 hours. They get to the office. They're in the office for 9 o'clock. They finish at the office at 5. By the time they get home at 7 o'clock, they're tired. They may have family to deal with. Like, what's your advice for that person who's like, you know what? I know health is important. I don't have time. Like, what would be your advice to make that time or find that
Well,
time?
now when we're running a business, when we're, pursuing certain things professionally, we don't run our businesses off outdated software. We don't, we don't use, bad infrastructure, bad systems, or outdated systems. We don't use pencil and paper. We use spreadsheets. So would you make $1 million, $10 million decisions with a $10 body? Probably not. Now, that's a high level, statement, but it comes down to three things, and I can understand someone that hasn't been able to prioritize their health because of these things you've mentioned. It can be very overwhelming, but we can break it down. It comes to three things: fuel, move, recovery. Those are three things. Learning what we have to put into our body and why we do that. Moving. Okay, you're not going to the gym 5 days a week, but guess what? Can we start with a 20-minute walk every morning? Or at some point, hey, you have a lunch break, eat the food that I've learned about, and now I'm going to walk after that for 20 minutes. And now recovery. That's a big subject, but just optimizing your sleep. I think that's the one that everyone sleeps every night. So that's something that you can immediately look to optimize. Sure, we can talk about mobility and flexibility and meditation and all of that, but just very low level. Everyone that I know sleeps. How do we optimize that? And when we do that, we have a clear mind, we can make better decisions. And then when all these things come together, you optimize your diet, you're now moving, which may improve and increase over time. Start with a 20-minute walk. You might end up working with a personal trainer, but we started with a 20-minute walk. And now we've optimized sleep as well. So with those three things, I mean, the return on investment of investing into yourself is going to show in your business. And, people think that health and wellness is an expense. It's really not. It's an investment. It's a huge investment with big ROI.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, I mean, you hit the nail on you hit a few nails on the head, actually. Like, I just think it personally, if I sleep well, and I don't think we talk enough about this just as a population, but if I sleep well, I'm going to function better the next day, both physically and mentally. If I sleep poorly, same difference, right? It's like,
Right.
Good attitude, good results, bad attitude, bad results, to
Right.
quote the Zig Ziglar, right? Here's a curious thing. So you say 20-minute walk. Okay, so I guarantee, like, for some people that might be a daunting thing to add to their schedule, not because it's hard to walk for 20 minutes, but maybe it's hard to find 20 minutes. So when you say, like, adding a 20-minute walk, what's your, like, would you say if you broke it into 4 or 5 minute walks throughout the day, is that the same? Is that just as adequate, you think?
It's moving. And I think the important part of, I don't really try to, like when I'm working with an executive or a founder, one of these people that I work with, you can't change everything all at once. You try to change the mindset and their approach. So like you said, okay, right now, I can't fit in 20 minutes, but I can, have 4 or 5 minute walks. If that's where we have to start, it's better than no movement, right? So yeah, that's definitely somewhere we can start, most definitely. And usually when I sit down with a client, we go over their schedule and what their life, the setup of their life, and we find, like, we optimize it. We optimize their schedule so that they can optimize these other areas of their life, and they all work in hand, right? You said, which is funny, when you learn about nutrition, and when that's optimized, that will help you with sleep, and that will help you with movement. Like, they don't exist in a bubble. They all exist together. So
I don't know what age it was at that I hit this, but if I have a drink, I don't sleep well. So to echo your point, they're like directly correlated, right?
I mean, I won't go too deep into it, but alcohol, people like to enjoy a drink. It is horrible for gut health. I mean, there's a lot of other things that people are doing and consuming on a daily basis that are also, bad for gut health. But I talk about optimization. It's bad for gut health, and it disrupts hormones, which are necessary for building. Hormones are necessary for sleep, across the board. So, you can optimize. That's all it is, optimization.
Do you ever have someone come through your program that's like, drinking 3-4 nights a week and smokes regularly? And if so, like, what would you say to that person? How do you handle that type of person?
I ask them, what are your goals and where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And they'll tell me some goals. And if what they're doing now if I don't see that aligning, like what you're doing here, I'm drinking, I'm smoking, and they tell me, hey, I want to travel to the Great Wall of China and walk, and explore. I don't know if that's going to be possible. And I mean, just a tidbit of, information. Alcohol does disrupt hormones. And they say if a man drinks, it can lower a man's testosterone levels for up to 24 hours. So if you drink, 3 days a week, that's lowered testosterone for, 72 hours?
Yeah.
For half the week. So, I mean, and hormones work together, for digestion, sleeping, muscle growth and recovery. Everything is symbiotic. It's a system. The body's a system. And people overlook that, and they don't understand how one thing will negatively impact or positively impact another thing. And this can seem very, very overwhelming. So I don't try to throw all this at a person. Let's break it down and let's try to let's create little smaller, you know, goalposts that you can achieve that will lead to the bigger picture. Like, no one built a $1 billion company overnight. You know, I had this idea that I conceptualized, it then grew. And that's the same thing. It's just, we go through a system of growth.
And Cole, I guess I was going to ask you this question too, and I think you touched on it a bit here, where we now are in a culture of like we want instant gratification, instant satisfaction on things, or like we need to see instant results. Taking care of your health or getting to your um, ideal health, and I don't think that necessarily means like you know for everyone, it doesn't necessarily mean like being a bodybuilder or anything, but to be quote unquote healthy. So when you think through what are instantaneous steps people can take and results that they'll see or feel, because you know what, and we know with health it's not going to happen right away, but what are things people can see and feel right away so that they know it the right thing is happening, so that they don't give up? So like, what do you tell people to do right away so that they feel that something's happening now versus ideally, well, usually people have to see like it's 6 months before results or a year before results.
Right.
Like, how do you bring people along that path?
Well, some of the clients that I've worked with, just some examples, you know, horrible skin, you know, let's improve your water intake, hydration. Cells work off of, you know, being hydrated.
Yeah.
2, what are you putting into your body? Let's eliminate inflammatory foods, whether it be seed oils or, you know, artificial processed junk. And then, like we said earlier, walking or just some type of movement. Hey, you're at your desk all day. I even recommended one of my executives, he got a walking pad at his standing desk so he could walk at his desk. So those are three things. Like, let's drink some more water. Let's eliminate a couple things, you know, from your diet, and, you know, let's buy a walking pad. You know, you're at your desk all day. Well, let's change that up. And it will, you know, that will help with, you know, just blood flow, thinking. It gets you more alert. And, you know, there's really 2 options: put in the work now, or deal with the consequences of not doing it later in life. And that's a lot worse.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. My brother has, so I have an Apple Watch, right? My brother calls it the Apple Fat Watch because he's like, it's always telling me when to stand and when to take a walk. Right. And I don't know. I think that's a pretty funny way to look at it. But to that, I mean, to your point, it's getting like mine reminds me to stand. I think I have my stand count 13 times a day.
You know, some people like to gamify. I've worked with an executive that wants to gamify everything. Like, there's a goal. So that, you know, if that works for you and that's what you need, let's do that. Let's get that Apple Watch. Hey, you've hit this many steps, you've burned this many calories. So there's different things you can implement for different types of personalities. So yeah, that's
well, to that point, I'd love to kind of ask this question too, because I think it's a good thing that you brought up, because I know, you know, we talk about this a lot. What gets tracked gets measured. What gets measured, we see results. So like, what are some of the different ways in which you recommend to people to even track what they're doing? Like, is there a tracking around foods that you recommend people doing? Is there a track around exercise you recommend people doing? Is it the Apple Watch? Is it writing it down? Like, what are the different recommendations that you make from a tracking perspective when it comes to health?
Well, I mean, there's several different ways. When it's like I said earlier, it's hard to overhaul every aspect of your life. So it's like, I like to introduce things where they can change their habits. So does a person need to track every single macronutrient, you know, carbs, protein, fats right away? That can be overwhelming. So I give them, you know, more of a way or system of eating. You know, so you know, there will be particular foods. Like, if you're usually eating out 3 times a week, you know, let's do it 1 a week. One meal that you really want to eat, and you do that once a week. You at least know that it's less. So I'm eating less junk than I was. So there's going to be some change. And you're going to see more. And I often see this when they start to see change, they want to go deeper. People often, well, let's start tracking stuff so I get more results. Because the more you track, just in business, the more you track something, the better data you have and the better decision making you can make. So
No, it makes sense. It's like, I don't know, it's like if you're on a roll, you want to keep that ball rolling, right?
Right.
If you're now, here's the thing though, if you hit a standstill, so let's say because I hear this all the time, right? You spend 6 days of the week in a 200 calorie deficit. You saved up 1,200 calories, and then you go and you blow it away on booze and this and the like, and you actually end up in a negative over the week. Let's call that let's call that archetype Bob, as we always know
right.
it.
Yeah. No offense to any Bobs out there listening.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the one I always like to use. Well, let's call that archetype Bob. So the Friday rolls around, Bob blows his caloric budget out the window, wakes up on Saturday, feels like crap. And I know that this feeling, this mental space is a common. It's you wake up on Saturday, you're like, this week is done. Forget it. I don't care. I'm just gonna do whatever. Like, I'll have drinks tonight. I'll order in some fast. You're like, who gives a crap? And then on Sunday or Monday, I'll be back at it. What would you say to the person who's stuck in that cycle? Because that cycle is like a regular occurrence. It's not like this happened on one Saturday or one Friday and now I'm back. No, it's a constant cycle. What would you say to the person stuck in that cycle?
I wish I.
That's what you'd say.
Yeah, right.
I'm disappointed in you.
Not many words. It depends. To be completely honest, it depends who I'm working with. Some people can take hard love and others can't. And you kind of have to massage that and know who you're working with. And if someone's very goal oriented and they're just not getting it, like, hey, like, what are you trying to do here? You have the blueprint for success. You have everything that you need to build towards your goal, and you're letting yourself down. This isn't anyone's fault. However, one burger didn't get the person to be completely out of shape and unhealthy.
Yeah.
So one burger isn't going to ruin all your progress. That may enter your mind like, oh my God, I've fallen off the wagon. No. Okay. You had a burger, you had some drinks. Let's get back on the horse and let's go down the road. Like, we can't dwell because you already ate the burger. Was it good? Did you get bacon on it? Cool. Now, where do we go from here? But what can we do? And maybe they just need a little bit more variety in their diet. Like when I create diets for people, maybe that's what they need. Hey, I can eat the same meal every day, 365, and I have no complaints. But it's a decision. It's just a discipline that gets developed over time. That doesn't come overnight. So
yeah, I don't know if you have the same thing where you are in the States, but definitely in Canada, there's like a countrywide law wherein, like, I think if you're a chain of X amount of stores or more, X amount of restaurants or more, you have to post your calories.
Right.
Each meal. So what some restaurants have done is they'll do like, oh, well, these nachos are only 500 calories. And then they'll put like in parentheses besides serves 4 people or whatever. It's like, the plate's actually 2,000 calories. You're going to have a bad day if you smash that whole thing. I will say, like, from a tracking perspective, I try and track as much as possible. I use FitPal. It's a great app. If you don't use MyFitnessPal, it's a great app. I'm throwing it out there. This is a shout out to the creators of MyFitPal. But I'll use it to track my macronutrients, but also the caloric intake. And it's so funny because I'll find myself in a restaurant and honestly, like half the time I'm not I look at the calories first and then I look at the meal, right? So I might be going down oh, this burger is 600 calories. And I'm like, oh, this is, this salad is 1,500 calories, right? And so it won't even register. With respect to, say, going out, with respect to, eating out, ordering in, this kind of thing, how would you guide someone to making the right choice when some of the right choices, like that aforementioned salad, is 1,500 calories?
So before I answer that question, you just kind of jog something in my mind. It's,
Love it.
we have people in all these different professions and different fields, like, even you guys, you've been great in your professions, and we'll know so much about that profession. And we give so much of our time and our effort to grow to a level of being an expert. But you know how many people do not even know about the food that they put into their body?
Yeah.
Like, this is the one thing we own in life. Like, this is our body, and we're not educated about what we need to put into it to function properly as a human being. I think it's just mind-blowing. So it really starts with education. But I just wanted to say that. But to answer your question, you can always make a better choice. Is it the best choice? Maybe not. But if you're going for that salad, hey, do you mind to put the dressing on the side? So you don't have to, it doesn't have to be smothered with the dressing. I can choose to put a little bit on there so I still have that taste. Well, no, instead of getting the fries, let me get the baked potato with, not fully loaded. Put the butter on the side. I can choose to put a little on. So instead of getting, something fried, hey, maybe I'll get the grilled chicken sandwich. So it's always making a better choice. Yeah. Yes, it may not be the best, but it's still better. So we have to look at to improve, right? That system. We're creating a system of just making better choices one at a time, they're cumulative. So
it's funny because what I've been hearing this whole time, it seems to be a bit of a theme. What I've been hearing this whole time is we don't have to make these big monumental changes. It's literally all about these small incremental decisions. And
consistency is much better and will get you a lot further than an extreme amount of effort once.
That's the darn truth. And the little things is huge, right? So,
right.
I think knowledge is key. Education is key, to your point, right? We gotta sometimes swapping the fries for a Caesar salad does nothing.
Right.
But yeah, the idea of a baked potato, I mean, that's a really good point. And to your point, we also got to be careful with the toppings we're putting on this kind of thing. And
right.
It's actually funny you say it. Like, I didn't notice it in my 20s as much, honestly, but nowadays for sure. Like, if I eat like crap all day, the next day is actually impacted. I'm a little foggier. I'm not as
right.
And then I think there's also the, and I want to touch on this a bit too. Just we have a couple minutes here. There's also the mental piece, right? Like, if I eat super healthy and I haven't drank, and I've drank 4 liters of water, and I've just been really good to my body, literally until I'm not good to my body for that extended period, until I'm not good to my body, I'm in a much better mood, much more upbeat, get way more done, just more positive, right? So I love that. You don't want to make, what do you say? You don't want to make $1 million or multi-million-dollar decisions on a 10th body or something.
Question, Emil, what's your dream car?
What's my dream car? So it's twofold. There's 2 answers to that one, but I'm going to give you the first answer. It would probably be an 89, an 89 or earlier Trans Am Firebird.
Okay. So you have that car, it's in your driveway. You've always wanted it. You love it. Would you just drive the wheels off and never get it serviced?
I mean, no.
Would you put the cheapest oils and lubricants and fuel in it?
I wouldn't put any in it. I don't know what I'm doing with cars, but to your point,
But if the car professional told you you needed the optimum premium fuel, you needed this type of oil you can only get here, shouldn't we think about our bodies the same way?
I mean,
Shouldn't we?
100% you're right.
Right.
I love that, man. It makes so much sense. Listen, we're rounding the corner right now. We've just hit 4:30. Cole, I really appreciate.
That's been great.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time. In another couple of weeks, we've got another one coming up. You guys got to check this one out. This will be good just the same. We're talking with Jennifer Mack on how to mitigate racism in the workplace. Big topic, big heavy hitter, and we can't wait to see you there. Again, Cole, thanks for your time. You guys have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Take care. Talk soon.
Bye.